was finally among us. Just as was prophesied, the almighty and glorious God Howard himself has blessed us with a new game. Okay, just to be honest, I will admit that we don't learn a lot from this trailer, but that doesn't mean that we can't analyze what we have been given. At the very beginning of the trailer, the first thing we see is fog. Lots of fog. We see rocks on the ground, trees on the top of the cliff right next to us, and mountains off in the distance. We see that the terrain is made up of sheer cliffs and rough tundra, along with trees and grasses. Off to the right, we can see a body of water, although whether it is an ocean, sea, or lake, I am not certain. During this part of the teaser, we can clearly see that the ground in this area has either sunken in, or was perhaps struck by a meteor. Maybe even at one point, it could have been a lake. Adjacent to that crater is what I believe to be a city, along with another city off in the background, on the coast of the water. During the section of the trailer where the logo for the game appears, we can see what some might mistake as a ship in the water. Do not be fooled by it though, as it's just the copyright symbol for the logo. After having gone over all of the plainly evident details in the teaser, we can now use all of that information to speculate on where specifically this landscape is located within the continent of Tamriel. Just to keep this video under an hour long, I'm not going to consider that it's located on any continent other than Tamriel. For those of you unaware, Tamriel is the continent on which every Elder Scrolls game takes place. I believe that the lands we can see in this trailer belong to the region of High Rock, a land known for its mountainous and hilly environments. High Rock is also majoritively surrounded by coastline, and it is a land known for its many castles and kings. I believe High Rock fits best for what we see here, as there is a coastline, it is highly mountainous and hilly terrain, and we can see a castle of some sort, obviously perched atop this hill. The city down below and near the coast eludes me, however. It is entirely possible that it's not a city, although I highly doubt that, considering the tall, angular structure in the center of it. Now, there are other places in Tamriel that these lands may belong to, two that I can immediately think of. The southwest coast of Valenwood, and the coastline of Hammerfell. The coastline of Valenwood could easily resemble what we see in this trailer, with the jungles and dense forests farther inland. And unlike what most people think, Hammerfell is likely not a completely barren desert. Before Skyrim was released, people assumed it was simply a barren winter wasteland. Nobody considered it would have the diverse and varied landscapes we are all accustomed to now, such as the volcanic marshes of Eastmarch, the sprawling forests of Falkreath, and the teeming plains of Whiterun. If Bethesda decides to give their newly created game just as diverse a climate as they did Skyrim, then The Elder Scrolls 6 may be set possibly anywhere based on this trailer. It doesn't make sense, however, for them to show off one of the subclimates for any of these regions. During the advertising of Skyrim, they showed off mountainous, frozen terrain, filled with snow and harsh weather. It wouldn't have made sense for them to show off Falkreath or Eastmarch, when those areas do not properly represent the feel of Skyrim. Therefore, I believe the area we see in this trailer is almost definitely High Rock. And yes, I do believe we will be able to climb each and every one of the mountains we can see before us. Although at first glance they may appear too steep to climb, don't worry, horses are OP. Seriously though, I do think we'll actually be able to climb them. They'll probably have paths along them that we can't see in this teaser, similar to the path that we take to get to the top of the Throat of the World in Skyrim. As for the landscape itself, it looks incredibly promising, and I'm sure we'll be able to explore all kinds of caves and ruins, not to mention the other cities that will surely be present in the game. I can actually see one mountain off in the distance that is extremely high, and although at a glance it may appear smaller than the mountains in the mid-ground, it is obviously very far away from the camera, which means that it must be way higher than all the other mountains we can see closer to us. It's possible that the mountain might play a significant role in the game, similarly to how the Throat of the World was important in Skyrim, and how the Imperial City was a focal point in Oblivion. The mountains off in the distance to the right, however, have what is obviously snow on them, which might lead some to assume that they are the border to Skyrim, but that would mean that we would have to be looking southeast. And if you look at this map, that is obviously impossible, as the water that we can see to the right doesn't line up properly. I believe it is more likely that those mountains are somewhere along this line that I have drawn, and the camera is facing northeast, as the arrow shows. The environment we see in this teaser actually somewhat reminds me of Whiterun. We see a castle sitting in the middle of an open tundra, perched atop a hill, a beacon of civilization, surrounded by mountains, in the center of a flat landscape. Looking very closely, we can see that what I believe to be a city down by the water is fairly extremely close to the water level. So much so that we can see a small inlet has actually made its way all the way up to the city. I can also see what might be a river pouring into the body of water, which would mean that what we are seeing here is a city built near a delta. A delta is a formation where a river pours into a larger body of water, bringing sediment with it, pouring so much of that sediment into the water that it forms a marshy sort of area, almost flat with the level of the water. And if you look very closely, you can actually see where that river comes from. Deltas often serve as extremely fertile ground for growing crops, and have served throughout real-world human history as some of the first places where civilization has sprung. It makes perfect sense that the people of the Elder Scrolls would similarly choose to build their cities near them. That's about all that I could find in this teaser, and overall it looks extremely beautiful, and I can't wait to explore every bit of this place when the game finally releases. And I'm willing to bet it's most likely set in High Rock. If we can expect this game to be at all similar to Skyrim in its scope and quality, I think we'll all be content with what we're finally given. Be sure to tell me where you think the Elder Scrolls 6 will be located, and let me know if I missed anything in this teaser. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Koo, and I'll see you in the next video.